Here's the old water pump that's been pulled out, and it's genuine Honda. And here is the new water pump that is going in. And the car currently has 95,548 miles, and today is 7/20/15. So when this goes in the car and somebody pulls it off to look at it again, they're going to know exactly when this water pump was put in. And hopefully they'd figure out the timing belt and the tension and everything is one and the same. And they're going to have these videos if somehow they're not connected. But that is the point of these videos, is to document every single thing that's been done to this vehicle so that there's no question as to whether the parts were actually installed or not. And I put the seals in yesterday, and I'll show how I did that. For this top seal, I had to put the bolt back in. That first washer is part of it. These other two washers were mine. I needed them to take up the space. And then I put the old seal on there. And I used two pry bars to take up the space. One here, and then one to pry against this so that you're pressing it in. And I did it on both sides, going back and forth, top, bottom, if necessary. And that seated it in. And I put the old seal in backwards so that there was a flat contacting surface to it. And that was the only way I could do it because there's no room here for a hammer. I tried to use an extension along with universal joint to bend it, and that wouldn't work. Now, as for this one, we still have a little bit of coolant, and you definitely want to install your seals prior to pulling the water pump. So I have that one in, and I did the same thing. I put the seal on backwards, and I used an extension, and that's a 32mm socket from Harbor Freight, and it was just wide enough to go in the seal and not contact anything else. So it worked out perfect. And just drove it in there. I'd have to kind of tilt this thing at a different angle depending on which one needed to be driven in more. And that one worked fine. So now I'm getting ready to put the water pump in, and then it's going to be the timing belt tensioner pulley, and then the belt itself, and then start putting everything back on. Crank angle sensor. I need to put the cam gear back on first. I also need to put this crank stuff back on. There's a washer that is concaved, and it curves away from the belt, not towards the belt. If you put that on wrong, you're going to be hearing a lot of noise and probably be breaking a timing belt eventually, or at least replacing that. So that's a bad thing to do. You never want to do that. The book warns you against that. So we're going to put all that together, and the next video will probably show me maybe rotating it around to make sure that the crankshaft pistons does not contact the valves. It's hot. I'm tired. I'm surprised this flash is still working. So let's get started on that.